Once upon a time, there was a little village at the foot of a mountain by the river. People in the village didn't really go anywhere much because it was so beautiful where they were, particularly the gardens with these gorgeous flowers and the delicate blossoms of the fruit trees in the spring. And there was one garden that was particularly beautiful, the garden of the storyteller, Maya. It seemed as if the flowers there were more colorful. The light was shining brighter. It was like a humming and a singing in the air. There were these magical wild places down by the river with this sweet silence. Some people said that's a door to the other world. Another claimed to have been there. Do you know these places? Anyway, each night around the fire in that garden, the whole village would gather. And they would tell stories, and Maya would tell stories. But what was special about this village is that when the fires had burned down and the embers were glowing, all the children would gather around Maya. She would open a big, ancient book full of images. There were scary ones and most beautiful ones, dangerous looking ones, and just interesting. Now, and then they would decide where to go, because they traveled together at night in their dreams and had marvelous adventures. This night, when she opened the book, it didn't take long. "We're going there," said Luna, and she was pointing at a mountain range in the glowing sun that looked a bit like dragons. Maya read the ancient words below, and although nobody quite understood what she was saying, they knew it was all about setting dragons free. Should I go on? That night, before Luna and Leo, her big brother, went to bed, they carried that wish in their heart and they whispered to the moon where they wanted to go. They cuddled up in their cozy blankets and fell fast asleep. And when their breathing was slow and the moon was bright, they felt themselves traveling through the air. And there was Maya just in front of them and the others not far behind. And they were traveling at the speed of thought until they came to those mountains. A ruggedy, dry, bare place. "And why are we freeing those dragons?" asked little Tom, who was very clever and always wanted to know everything. "And why not?" "Well," said Maya, "the dragons have ancient wisdom that we need to hear. And they have this enormous life energy that will give us strength. And it'll make us creative," said little Tom. "But how are we going to find them?" wondered Leo. "Well, what would you do?" Well, they had a look around. And after a while, someone found some ancient rocks with carvings on them. And behind them, there was a passageway. It was dark and narrow that barely fitted through. But sure, this must be a path into the mountain. The staff of Maya let off a dim light that they could just about see. Sometimes they had to crawl, and after a while, suddenly they were sliding down, one by one, a deep slope, and landed at the bottom with a crash. God, how are we ever gonna get up there again? Wondered Luna. And it was pitch black. Maya had lost her staff. They were feeling their way around. They were seeing with their hands. And there was all these shapes, smooth and rough, all these shades of stone, and after a while there was a wee bit of light again. Maya had found her staff, and they saw in the dim light there were shapes of dragons on the floor in this huge cave. They looked as if they were asleep, and yet they were made like out of stone. And Tom put his ear to one of them and could not hear a heartbeat. Who has put them to sleep? And who on earth has trapped them here? And why? When they started thinking about that, it was like a darkness coming into the cave and slowly filling it. And the light was growing dimmer and weaker and weaker. They could barely breathe. And then there was a pull. The staff was being tried to be pulled out of Maya's hand, and she was holding on to it, almost being lifted off the ground, and all the kids were holding her down, and the taller ones were gripping the staff and holding it down with her, but it kept pulling and pulling and pulling until somebody cried, "We have to think about how to free them and not who entrapped them." And slowly, the pull got lesser. The light became brighter. They could breathe, and the darkness dissolved more and more until it was gone. And someone started to sing. It's comforting, isn't it? They all joined in and walked around the cave. Surely, if somebody puts you to sleep with a song at night, maybe when somebody sings to you a song in the morning to wake you up, that could break the spell. They were walking around the cave, and the sound of their song was like sweet, warm, golden honey. And Luna was standing over a dragon that was all curled up with the head to its side, and she thought it looked so sad. When a tear dropped down from her eyes, ran down her cheeks and landed on the stone. But suddenly there was no stone. It was as if the stone dissolved, and there were green and golden scales. Another drop fell, and there as well. The stone dissolved, and she cried out, "We have to touch them." And they all went around stroking those rocks and singing to them a lullaby to wake up. And so tenderly and sweetly they went around and stroked those eyes and those legs. But slowly, slowly, scales appeared everywhere. But they were still asleep. By now, they were standing in the middle of the cave in a circle with Maya holding her staff. And they were singing louder and louder. They were singing their hearts out. They were singing at the top of their voice when the earth started to tremble and rocks came falling down from the ceiling, and they kept singing, and more rocks kept falling, but they kept singing, and louder and stronger they wanted them to wake up. And suddenly the mountain cracked open, and the sunlight, the light came shining in and touched the eyes of the dragons, and they opened. More and more rocks came falling down, and they kept singing. But then the whole cave seemed to shake, and before they knew it, they jumped onto the back of the dragons, and the dragons spread their wings and flew through the opening high up into the sky, shining golden in the sun. They heard the mountain collapse behind them. "Where's Maya?" shouted Leo, and looked back, and there she was on top of the pile of rocks with her staff, calling out, "Fly, fly, fly!" And they flew. They flew higher and higher into the sky, as if they were going to touch the stars. And then the light was coming through the window, touching Luna's eyes, and she opened them. "We're back!" She jumped out of bed and spread her arms up high as if she was still flying. "We are back, Leo!" And they ran towards the storyteller's house, as they did every day, to tell the story of the night. There she was. "How did you get back? What happened?" She said, "Well, when I saw you flying, But she never got any further, because all the others came running, and they were looking for honey cake and warm and sweet drinks." They gathered around in a circle and told the adventures of the night. Everybody had to go. When suddenly there was this whooshing sound and whirling wind. Their hair was whirling, the trees were twirling, and they saw this huge dragon flying towards them. It was right above them, golden in the sun. And then it dropped something right into their middle. It was a golden egg. It was humming and buzzing with life. "Imagine if this, no, imagine this." They all spoke at the same time, thinking about what could become of that egg. And they went around collecting stick and stones and moss and grass and flowers, made a beautiful nest for the egg. And they made up loads of stories what could become of it. And they made drawings and songs and plays. And what do you imagine would become of that egg? And anyway, where are you going tonight?